Hi! If you're tired of gray, boring worlds and are craving vibrant colors, epic combos, and gorgeous anime aesthetics, you clicked on the right video. Today, we're not going to rehash the same old beat-up classics. I've put together a lineup of the newest, most stylish, and genuinely awesome anime-style games that you can jump into right now. Let's start with Farever. If you've ever wanted a mix of a survival game like Valheim and a bright fantasy anime world, then Farever is exactly what you need. Unlike your typical MMOs where everyone is just endlessly fighting over raid loot, this game focuses on cozy co-op and exploring together. You're not some chosen one here, just an adventurer heading out with friends to conquer a forgotten kingdom. It features a massive open world packed with puzzles, crafting, and building, while the combat is nicely spiced up with dynamic platforming. You can customize your character, craft unique gear, and head out to clear underwater caves or ancient temples. The game dropped this May and has already built a really welcoming community around it. Echoes of Aincrad. This one is especially for the Sword Art Online fans. Bandai Namco just dropped a game all about Aincrad. Here, you build your own unique avatar from scratch and set off to conquer the legendary floating castle. It's a true fight for survival in the action RPG genre. The combat is super fast-paced and happens in real time, but the game's killer feature is the synergy system with your AI partner. You don't just tweak your own skills, but their tactics as well, creating the perfect combat duo to smash bosses across the castle floors. The game came out very recently, so it's the perfect time to dive into this massive world. The 7 Deadly Sins: Origin. A game with a scale matching Genshin Impact. This is a gorgeous open-world action RPG that transports us to Britannia. But instead of playing as the familiar crew of Sins, we take on the role of Prince Tristan, who has to deal with some sort of space-time collapse. The visuals here are absolutely stunning. It looks like you're watching a high-budget anime, except you're the one controlling the characters. Released this past spring, the game isn't just about running through fields, it's about actual exploration. You can fly, swim underwater, solve puzzles, and use unique character skills to interact with the environment. Naturally, during combat, you can swap between different heroes, chaining their elements and attacks into insane combos. If you love massive anime games with a great story and free exploration, this one is definitely worth your attention. Monster Hunter Stories 3: Twisted Reflection. If you love collecting cool monsters but are getting a bit burned out on Pokemon, check out the third installment of this excellent Capcom spin-off. It's a colorful JRPG where we play as a rider, someone who doesn't hunt monsters, but hatches them from eggs and fights right alongside them. This time, the plot revolves around 2 warring kingdoms and a mysterious ecological disaster. The game keeps the turn-based combat system from the previous entries, but the devs have polished it to near perfection. Hunting for new nests, messing with the genetics of your monsties, and building your dream team is more addictive than ever. The game is already out on PC and consoles, including the brand new Switch 2, and it looks absolutely incredible. Screamer. This isn't your typical RPG. It's a wild arcade racer dripping with 90s anime vibes from start to finish. The devs decided to mash up neon-soaked street racing with fighting game mechanics. Your cars are rigged with a system that lets you do more than just hit the turbo. You can literally beat the brakes off your rivals on the track by popping shields and throwing heavy hits. The game features a full 20-hour story campaign with awesome cutscenes produced by the Japanese studio Polygon Pictures. Pick one of the crazy racers. Each has their own unique ride, an ultimate ability, and a score to settle in this underground tournament. The controls take some getting used to because of the stick-based drifting system, but once you find your rhythm, this neon action is impossible to put down. Witchspire. If you're into magic and roguelike elements, Witchspire absolutely deserves your attention. Picture a massive, constantly shifting tower that you have to conquer playing as an ambitious little witch. No boring fetch quests here, just pure action, where every new floor is procedurally generated, throwing fresh challenges, traps, and hordes of enemies your way. The main hook of the game is its spellcrafting system. You literally combine different elements and effects on the fly, turning your character into an absolute dungeon-clearing machine. The combat is super dynamic, demanding quick reflexes and smart mana management. It's a fantastic choice to sink a couple of evenings into. DragonSword Awakening. Now this is a real treat for fans of classic slashers and action RPGs. DragonSword takes everything great about the old school and wraps it in gorgeous, modern anime graphics. Story-wise, we're on a classic quest to save the world from an awakened ancient evil. The scale and epic feel are off the charts right from the very first minute. But what really hooks you is the combat system. The combos, dodges, and juggling enemies in the air, it all feels incredibly satisfying. Plus, the co-op here is top-notch. You put together a 4-player party, pick your classes, and go raid gigantic dragons. If you've been itching for a fast-paced grinder with flashy visual effects to play with your friends in the evenings, download this one without a second thought. Wuthering Waves. This is the game that really made its competitors in the open-world gacha RPG genre sweat. We're looking at an intriguing post-apocalyptic setting, gorgeous character design, and movement freedom that will make your head spin. You can run up sheer cliffs, use a grappling hook, and glide through the air, making exploring this world an absolute blast. But the best part here is the combat. It's fast, aggressive, and actually requires some skill. Perfect dodges, parries, and an absolutely amazing system that lets you absorb the abilities of defeated monsters and use them in battle. The game is perfectly optimized and is now packed with a ton of awesome content. Neverness to Everness. This one is a total breath of fresh air. We're dropped into a massive, meticulously detailed modern metropolis that truly feels alive. And the coolest part? You can cruise around it in your own cars. You buy rides, tune them up, buy real estate, and all of this happens against the backdrop of a stunning urban aesthetic. At night, the city fills with paranormal phenomena, and that's when the action kicks in. The combat system lets you swap between characters with unique elements on the fly, dishing out bone-crushing combos. The mix of everyday city life, street racing, and flashy battles with anomalies makes this game truly unique. You definitely have to try it. This city will pull you right in. Zenless Zone Zero. Here, you play as a proxy, an illegal guide who helps badass agents explore hollows full of dangerous monsters. The vibe of this game is just incredible. Killer music, comic book-style cutscenes, and a genuine urban underground atmosphere. Gameplay-wise, it's a whirlwind action game with roguelike elements. You build a team of 3 heroes and head out on missions. The combat here is smooth as butter. It's all about perfect timing, heavy parries, and instant character swaps right mid-attack. The screen literally explodes with vibrant colors when you pull off joint ultimates. If you love session-based, concentrated action games with killer design, without having to run across an empty map for hours, this is going to be your new favorite game. Punishing Grey Raven. This is a dark sci-fi hack-and-slash with stunning anime aesthetics giving off major Nier Automata vibes. Earth has been taken over by a biomechanical virus, and we take command of a squad of cyborg constructs to take our home planet back. The atmosphere here is serious, the story will actually make you tear up in places, and the combat music just makes your heart pound. The combat system is incredibly fast and is built around a colored orb matching mechanic. You dodge attacks at the very last split second, trigger bullet time, and unleash devastating combos on your enemies. The game doesn't forgive mistakes and demands solid reflexes, especially on high-level bosses. If you love it when a game actually challenges you and winning gives you a real sense of satisfaction from your own skill, you're in the right place. Avatar Legends, the fighting game. A fully fledged, competitive fighting game in the Avatar, the last Airbender and Legend of Korra universe. The game brings all that elemental magic right into the arena, and it looks absolutely jaw-dropping. The devs meticulously translated the movements from the animated series, the smooth, circular attacks of waterbenders, the sharp, aggressive strikes of firebenders. Every stance and every hit is totally faithful to the original show. But this isn't just eye candy for the fans. It's a deep and serious fighting game. You'll have to carefully manage your energy, use assists from other characters, and combo your elemental attacks to leave your opponent with zero chance. The netcode is excellent, so online matches run incredibly smoothly. Solo Leveling, Arise OVERDRIVE. This game has already made a lot of noise, and the version with the OVERDRIVE subtitle cranks the hype meter straight to the max. It's an action RPG based on the iconic manhwa, where you play as Sung Jinwoo, growing from the weakest hunter to the almighty Shadow Monarch. Visually, the game looks like you're controlling a big-budget anime yourself. Screen-filling special effects, dynamic camera angles, and bosses that will really make you sweat. The best part of the game kicks in when you unlock the ability to create your own shadow army. You literally resurrect defeated enemies and sick them on new foes. The OVERDRIVE edition brings even more content, new hunters for your team, and raids. The combat is fluid, the dodges feel great, and that feeling of absolute badassery when you snap your fingers and summon an army of darkness is just off the charts. Dragon Quest VII Reimagined. The Dragon Quest series is an ageless classic, and now we can finally play a full-fledged remake of the 7th installment subtitled Reimagined. Once again, we gather our loyal crew and head out to explore the past to figure out why our island is the only one left in the world. And all of this is wrapped up in stunning, modern 3D visuals. Gameplay-wise, this is a textbook turn-based JRPG. The massive vocation system isn't going anywhere. You can perfectly tailor your party for any challenge. If you've been missing massive, cozy, and deep adventures that you can practically live in, then this release is an absolute must-play. It's a real gift for all fans of the genre. Code Vein 2. The anime Dark Souls. Once again, we gather our crew and set out to survive in a harsh post-apocalyptic world full of fierce battles with powerful enemies. The dark aesthetic has gotten even heavier, and the story promises to go beyond time itself. The game's main feature, its flexible class system, has gotten even deeper and more versatile. You can still swap your playstyle right on the fly. Tired of tanking damage with a heavy two-hander? A couple of clicks, and you're a nimble mage. The combat is lethal, demanding perfect timing and tight coordination with your team. So brace yourselves, get your party together, and jump into this hardcore action RPG. Kotama and Academy Citadel. This is an adrenaline-fueled Metroidvania. The combat here is an absolute masterpiece that easily puts big studio projects to shame. It's all built around status effects. Build up stacks on an enemy, detonate them, deal massive damage, and heal yourself in the process. The health system is also genius. You heal using in-game currency right in the heat of battle, and you can only die if you take a fatal hit. This creates an incredibly tense push and pull, especially during the epic, large-scale boss fights. Gameplay-wise, it never gets boring. You get a double jump almost immediately. The game's Umbrella Spear lets you glide smoothly through the air, and well-timed parries are heavily rewarded. The platforming takes some real skill, and you can easily rage quit in the hardcore secret zone, so don't hesitate to use the built-in assist settings. Duet Night Abyss. This one is a total hybrid hurricane. Picture a gorgeous techno-fantasy world, majestic architecture, and two main characters with intertwining storylines. And the sweetest part, you can unlock absolutely every character and weapon completely for free just by playing the game and having fun. The freedom of movement here will just blow your mind. Run on walls, glide through the air, and unleash acrobatic hell on your enemies. The combat heavily encourages constant improvisation. You can pick off a target with a sniper rifle from a distance, and in the very next second, dive right into the thick of it with a giant sword. The devs are constantly dropping awesome events with free skins and new weapons. Edge of Memories. This game is still gearing up for release, but it already looks like that perfect hidden gem worth updating your wishlist for. The main character loses their memory and sets off to wander through the picturesque ruins of a once great civilization. The goal is simple: piece together your past and uncover the mystery of why this world fell apart. Instead of endless grinding and chaos, we're treated to a highly atmospheric, meditative gameplay experience with a stunning soundtrack that will give you goosebumps. You'll be exploring beautiful locations, solving clever spatial puzzles, and engaging in tactical combat where you have to think several moves ahead, like in chess. It's the perfect game for those times when you just want to wrap yourself in a warm blanket with some tea, grab a controller, and dive into a beautiful, slightly melancholic fairy tale. We can't wait for this one. So there you have it, that's the list. Be honest, how many games from this lineup have already made it onto your wishlist? Personally, some of these titles just blow me away. I want to drop everything I'm doing and go clear some dungeons or drift down neon tracks. Be sure to let me know in the comments which game caught your eye the most. The Image Game channel was with you. Have a nice day.